Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing the two college playoff games right now with our two top handicappers, Troy West from allplayswin.com and Joe Duffy from offshoreinsiders.com. All our regular viewers know who these guys are. Troy West has proven himself, young guy still, but has proven himself with a long-term record of success in our videos year in and year out, college and NFL. And Joe Duffy, of course, one of the most successful handicappers in the history of the industry, almost 30 years as a professional handicapper. All right, guys. Thanks for being back with us, Florida State and Oregon. Before we get to it, let's give the plugs. We'll start with you, Troy West, allplayswin.com. Tell everyone what your site's all about.
Hey, thanks a lot, Pete. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been just an outstanding 2014 as we come to a close. It's just been outstanding with you guys at SBR. I know it's been a successful season in the NFL, an outstanding season in college football. So far, we're 2-0 in the Bulls. For you guys, we knocked out our top play of the Bulls with Arkansas over Texas yesterday. And great things to come, Pete, coming here in 2015. Really encourage people to come take a look at allplayswin.com, Pete. Not only are we hot with picks, we have the best customer service and one of the best money management plans out there. Come take a look at allplayswin.com, Pete.
All right. Joe Duffy from offshoreinsiders.com. Tell us a little bit about your long-term success in the industry. 27 years, right?
27 years professionally, 27 and a half years, and counting my part-time work when I work for Dial Sports and whatever. You're right. I do go back a total of 30 years, but since June the 1st, 1988. Been full-time in this industry. Now my picks are exclusively at offshoreinsiders.com.
All right, guys. Now, again, I think for roundtables, we're going to do this in an opposite form. We're going to get your picks first, and then we'll hear your analysis. And if you agree, I guess we'll have kind of, a boring video with a lot of hugs and kisses. And if we have opposite picks, that's when the fireworks start. That's when we're going to get ratings with guys disagreeing, insulting each other. Joe Duffy, what's your pick? Florida State, Oregon. Well, first, let me just preview the game here. Of course, Florida State's been a terrible bet overall on the year, right? Just kind of universally, every game in and game out, week in and week out, overvalued, 3-10 against the spread. And now Oregon covered their last 8 games in a row, ATS. So obviously the momentum heading into this game hugely on Oregon's side, in Oregon's favor. But this is the first time Florida State's been a big underdog, so maybe it's just a complete different situation for Florida State. Now finally they'll have value right now. 8.5 or 9 are the market numbers. Total is 71.5. Joe Duffy, what pick are you going to recommend us today?
Well, you wanted fireworks, you ugly son of a bitch. I'm going to go with Florida State.
Florida State, okay, +9. And, Troy West from allplayswin.com. I know you tend to like favorites sometimes, but I have a hard time believing you're going to pick Oregon here. What's your recommended play for this call, Troy West?
Pete, I'm the Pac-12 expert, and I'm going with the Ducks in this one, Pete, and I think the Ducks big.
Really? Okay, here we go. Now we're going to get some ratings, baby. Guys going and take the gloves off or whatever it is. You know what I mean? If you think the other guy says something stupid, just go for it. Don't be polite. Don't hold back. All right, let's start with Joe Duffy, like in Florida State right now, +9. There's a chance we could have a split decision here because 8.5 and 9 are both widely available numbers. Joe Duffy, like in Florida State, +9, overvalued all year long, but here they are finally as an underdog. Joe Duffy, let's hear your reasoning.
Well, they were overvalued, and really my gut reaction was because a couple of my time-tested systems would have applied to Oregon. I was going to go with Oregon because, as you know, my dichotomist straight up in ATS has been saying to fade Florida State all year long, and we have been doing that for most of the year. And kind of a larger philosophy of listen to what the odds makers are telling you. We have found out throughout the years when the odds makers are coming up with something that's counterintuitive. In this case, you have a team on a 29-game losing streak that's getting more than a touchdown. Usually go with that. And then as the computer software gets better and better, I looked it up and I found out that it is true in recent years that undefeated big underdogs in bowl games are usually good go against, but it's not so much historically. So really that system wasn't quite as powerful as I thought. But at the end of the day, I wasn't surprised. Obviously, Florida State's been a bad spread team, been fading them most of the year, but now they have their chip on their shoulder. They didn't have anything to prove all year long. They still have a good nucleus. Yeah, they lost some good defensive players from their national championship team. A lot of offensive players are back, and this is a team that all they need to do is win, and that's all they've been doing. And this is their first statement game, really, since the national championship game of last year.
All right, Troy West from allplayswin.com. I assume you would consider that analysis to be very, very stupid, right?
Well, we're definitely not going with a computer software system here. We're going with an analysis here, Pete, where Oregon has not had a game, Pete, within single digits in quite some time. And my God, Pete, look at what they did, their body of work throughout the course of the season. They take down number 7 Michigan State early in the year. They knock them dead by 19 points. They beat UCLA handedly. They beat Stanford 45-16, who's a double-digit favorite tonight. They win the Pac-12 championship game 51-13, Pete. Look at who Florida State played throughout the course of the year, Pete. They missed the only ACC team that would have been competitive was Clemson. They didn't even have to play them. Just not impressed by the way Jameis Winston's finished up his year. He was awful against Florida, mediocre defense there. Just hasn't been playing well. They look bad even in the ACC championship game. I know they snuck by Georgia Tech there by 2, but just not impressed by the body of work that Florida State's brought to the table. Oregon brings that offense, Pete, much like Auburn did last year. And what did Auburn do last year against Florida State? They put up points, but guess what? The way Marcus Mariota's playing right now, Pete, I think he's playing just as good, 10 times better than Nick Marshall played last year. I love Oregon in this football game, Pete. I think it's a rude awakening for Florida State to finally get some competition. They've been playing these close games against the mediocre ACC. Look out, you got to play the best of the Pac-12. I think they're really going to struggle, and they have a rude awakening coming ahead of them.
All right, Joe Duffy, I assume that you would consider that to be a horrible analysis, right?
No, not a horrible analysis, but not one that I totally agree with. In the case of Oregon, yeah, that's the point. They really haven't had to play in a close game this year. And Jameis Winston, look, he is very easy to hate. It's one of these games where I almost wish I weren't a gambler so I could root against Jameis Winston. But the bottom line is, in the history of college football, you're going to have a tough time finding a better clutch quarterback. This guy always performs when the chips are down, and he's going to go down as one of the all-time clutch quarterbacks. Marcus Mariota, he's got 4 losses in his career. Jameis Winston, 26 games, 26 wins. He's got 4 less losses than Marcus Mariota. Look, I don't like Jameis Winston. I can't stand the guy. I don't like the fact that I got to root for him, but he is money on the football field. He literally never loses, and right. Mariota does.
Well, this is a tough one. I'll tell you why. Because first of all, Troy West is a Pac-12 expert. There's no question that when he gives an opinion on a Pac-12 game, I'm listening very, very closely. And his most recent call with us was on Utah as a big winner in a bowl game, and that was a great call. On the other hand, I just did my call with Brent from BetDSI. He told me that he has multiple sharp groups on Florida State in this bowl. So Brent has told me that it's clear that Florida State is a big. They loaded up on Florida State, getting whatever number they could, the good line. Troy West, that news that Brent told me that multiple sharps came in on Florida State. Does that bother you?
It doesn't bother me, Pete. You got to understand, the last 4 football games, Florida State won by 5 points or less. And who did they play? They played Miami, Boston College, Florida, and Georgia Tech, none in which are to speak of. I know Georgia Tech will be playing in a good football game tomorrow against Mississippi State, but none to which to really to speak of, Pete. And I just think this offense that Oregon, it really get underlooked throughout the course of the year, Pete. This is one of the best offenses that college football will ever see, and you're going to see it in a stadium that they're very much comfortable in, Pete. Pasadena, the Rose Bowl. This is a stadium that Oregon plays in year after year after year. I think that plays a little bit to their strength as well, Pete. I just think Oregon, a much better, faster football team in this game, Pete. And I mean, say what you want about Winston. I know the guy's a winner, but he's doing it against cupcakes all season long. Give them some competition. Let's see what happens.
All right, but maybe Florida State's just the kind of team where when they're a big favorite, they're overvalued, and then they disappoint. They don't play to their potential, and they lose against the spread as a big favorite. But now here they are when they're a big underdog. Yeah, maybe they lose the game, but it's close. It goes down to the wire. They blow it in the last minute or whatever, but they lose by 6 or 7 or something. They still get the cover. 9 points is a lot.
9 points is a lot of points, Pete. It is, especially in a bowl game, the Rose Bowl, a big game. The playoffs are on the line here. But guess what? I don't think Vegas is stupid. I think they put this game at 9 for a reason. You got a 12-1 against an undefeated Florida State team. Why is the line 9? Why is Vegas throwing out such a high number if they think the Seminoles can compete? I think if Vegas could put this one at 14, they'd do it, Pete. Because Oregon, look out, man. Florida State struggled to stop a lot of mediocre offenses, and they struggled to score points against a lot of mediocre defenses. Now you're getting a team that's really good on both sides of the ball. it's going to be a tough night for Florida State.
All right, great point there, Joe. Let's go back to Joe Duffy. You know, is Vegas stupid? I don't think they are. Are you accusing Vegas of being stupid by putting this line out there? Why is the line where it is?
Well, I can tell you this, that since 1980, undefeated underdogs in bowl games going against a team with a loss are actually 14-9 against the spread. I was a little bit surprised of that. But yeah, the thing is, you're right. Oregon has been destroying teams all year. Why? Because they've been in statement mode. They've had to make a statement. Where Florida State, they made their statement. They're the defending national champions. That's why we've been fading them all year. Look, no one's going against Florida State this year more than I have, because the situation said you wanted to go against them. They were laying a ton of points in a game that all they had to do was win. Now this is also a game all they have to do is win, and for the first time, they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. And even if you read between the lines, you read some of the local newspapers, even the players are, for the first time since last year, saying that they are feeling disrespected and they have something to prove. And like I said, everything that Florida State had to prove, they've done. All they had to do is prove that they won. But now they're going to come with a vengeance, and I think they're definitely going to cover this large number here.
All right. Well, awesome call. Both of you guys obviously have earned our respect over the years, so this will be interesting to see how it turns out. Right now, Joe Duffy liking Florida State +9, Troy West liking Oregon -8.5. We will see where this line moves and how this turns out. Thanks so much, guys.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.